An entitled sister-in-law tries to take credit for a large donation to a cancer fundraiser that we were running, and I've never been more blown away by somebody's selfish entitlement in my life. Here's what happened. So for a bit of context, my mother has a friend that has terminal cancer. She got diagnosed about a year ago or so, and it's recently went terminal. She only has a few months left, so her friends and family decided to have a fundraiser in her honor to help cover medical costs, any afterlife costs, and bucket list costs, as well as to help the family out after she passes. This lady is an amazing person. Everyone in town knows and loves her. She's a hairdresser and has been doing my mom's hair for ages. My mom has been a big part of the planning and fundraising for this event. There are a handful of this woman's friends and family taking a hand in it. However, most of them live an hour or so away, so the businesses and the people they are getting donations from are not our town and they don't know anyone. So my mom took it upon herself to call nearly every business in town, family-owned shops and restaurants, chain shops and restaurants, travel agencies, insurance agencies, big places of employment, etc., as well as donations from the general public. She even got our local Walmart to donate some money. She's gotten everything from small items to gift cards to whole baskets and massages, as well as discounts, while also getting our local airport to donate 2 30-minute airplane rides around our county. And the latest place to donate was our bowling alley. The guy who runs and owns the place is amazing. He also coaches both of our high school bowling teams. When my mom called, he said that he's going to take a bit to think about what to donate because he wants to do something other than just a free bowl or two. He ended up ordering 2 new bowling balls and is donating them along with 2 one-hour bowling parties for 10 bowlers. And that's like a $400 donation overall at least. So anyways, he told her last week when he called to confirm what he's donating to call back in a week just to check if it's in and if she can come by and pick it up. She's been posting thank you notes on Facebook for the donators and telling what they've donated to kind of give a peek at what the auction baskets will include. So she called today to ask if it's in as well as when she can come and pick it up, but she was then informed that somebody already did. And it's right about now that we realize that things were absolutely not as they seemed. Now, my mom was not made aware that someone else was picking it up. She posted about the donation on Facebook and added it in the group chat that they have for friends and family. No one outside of this private chat knew that she had not picked them up yet. She messaged them all, asking if one of them had grabbed it and forgot to tell her about it, but they all had no clue what she was talking about. We thought that maybe some jackwagon saw the post and decided to take it for themselves. I called the owner and I asked them if he knew who picked up the stuff, and he said it was Jessica. Jessica is not her real name. He said that since she was family, he thought that we had sent her. My mom texted the group chat asking if anyone knew who Jessica was, and it turns out that she is the woman's husband's sister. This sister is not in any of the group chats and has not attended any of the meetings regarding the fundraiser or the planning. The woman's daughter is in the group chat and is very active in the planning and the fundraising. She called her mom and asked if she had heard from the sister and if she had seen the bowling balls or the certificates, and her mom said that the sister brought them to her home, saying that she got this huge donation from the bowling alley. Now, none of the donations have been going to her house. We don't want to clutter up her house and cause her stress trying to plan, so the friends and family have been keeping the stuff at our houses until the time for the fundraiser. So there's no other reason for her to take them to her house other than to try and take credit for what was done. I just don't understand why she would take it upon herself to go pick up a huge donation that she didn't even take part in without telling my mother, you know, the one who got the donation, that she didn't need to go pick it up because she had covered it already. She took it straight to the woman's house without asking the group that's planning where they're storing the donations. And she didn't tell anyone that she took it. She doesn't even live in our town. She literally lives 30 minutes away. So she had to go so out of her way to pick this up. She took this to her sister-in-law's house, trying to take credit for this huge donation when she hasn't put in a lick of work to this fundraiser, and left us worried that someone just took our donation and ran off with it. And honestly, with all things considered, I am so disgusted by Jessica's entitlement. Wow, that really does seem like she was trying to take credit for something she didn't do. I thought at first she was gonna try and like steal the donation and maybe like sell it, but thankfully she just wanted to be a selfish jerk and try and show off for something she literally had no part in. Also, I hope you put some details in that group chat and explain that, yeah, Jessica did something stupid and basically exposed her for the jerk that she is. Like, listen, if you want to be involved, then be involved, but don't just swoop in and be like, wow, look at this donation I got for you. Like, that's really stupid and incredibly entitled, and also really selfish. It's like like she just completely forgot the reason for this entire thing. So thankfully this wasn't stolen, and thankfully this is just the case of Jessica trying to act stupid, as well as trying to take credit for something that she had no part in. That is honestly disgusting, and hopefully the rest of this fundraiser goes off without any other problems. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. Also, go to AmITheJerk.com/submit if you would like to submit your own stories. My entitled dad is constantly overstepping my boundaries, as well as making my life a living nightmare. And after decades of dealing with his intrusive behavior, I'm honestly at the end of my rope, and I honestly don't know what to do. Here's what happened. Okay, to start things out, everyone in my family makes excuses for his constant BS. They give him the benefit of the doubt, they call his actions neurotic instead of calling them problematic. My one sister is always quick to remind me of his other qualities that make him a good dad. If I dare try to express and seek some validity in feeling betrayed by how he can treat me. For 34 years, I've tolerated his egregious behavior, and I'm deciding that I have finally hit my limit. And this is how I hit my breaking point. He cut down my gorgeous hibiscus like a complete lunatic. Did he steal it? I'm honestly still trying to wrap my head around it, and I'm trying to figure out what happened and why he did it. Now, for some context, my husband and I, as well as my baby, were walking around the yard before her bedtime tonight. It was already dark, and my husband, who usually doesn't notice much in life, actually noticed that my favorite flowering bush was not there. We live in a northern state and have already gotten frost, but this sweet miracle of a hardy hibiscus was still flourishing. It was perfection. There were 5 open flowers, big beautiful candy swirled blooms, but now it was gone. The whole plant cut clean at the base. My parents had just left earlier in the afternoon from visiting for an entire 2 days. They refused to ever stay long, but this was by far the shortest visit ever, and they live nearly 5 hours away. They also refused to stay at our house, always demanding to get a hotel. So all in all, me and my baby got to actually see them for maybe a combined 3 hours, and it was mostly my mom. My dad doesn't participate in quality time, because you know what? It doesn't serve him. He stays outside on his phone the whole time or runs errands, or he just messes and modifies my garden. He usually just puts down more plants and flowers, but he's planted over tulip buds before, and mowed my wildflowers not fully bloomed yet, all because he doesn't ask and he doesn't think he needs to. He just does what he wants, and if I take issue with it, he responds as if I'm a jerk who has a lot of nerve to even care about their garden in the first place. I mean, I don't tend to it all summer and really care about what comes out of the ground and how it looks like, and because he's here very briefly, maybe 5 times a year, he thinks that he deserves to call all the shots about a property that he doesn't own. And if it gives me more work instead of helps me out, well, I better eat glass before I mention so. And this is not the only thing he's ever done in my life. Trust me, there's a long list of all the weird things he's done. For starters, he once took my car to get a tune-up while I was sleeping without my consent, and he threw away so much necessary paperwork, as well as an unused gift card, a couple of my daughter's toys that he said were too dirty to be worth saving, but also just cleaned it out of stuff that maybe I might have wanted, like air fresheners or pens. He just thought that I should be grateful and not inquire further or act as if those items mattered in the first place. He's also thrown away everything in my fridge that was opened, or not to his standard. So if it's a brand that he doesn't like a certain brand of mayonnaise, he will just replace it all with a better product that he likes. He's also taken my dog to get groomed without her proof of rabies vaccination, while also doing it without me knowing that he was going, because my dad is only on brand if he doesn't ask my permission first. He called me up while I was at work, yelling and cussing about how I need to get my vet to call the groomer ASAP because he's too old to be dealing with this kind of garbage, and that I should have her tags updated, while also trying to be like, wow, your dog's such a pain in the neck, I don't have time for this. But you know what? I did do exactly as I was told, and I probably apologized instead of just hanging up on him. One time when I was visiting them, he decided I was drinking too much coffee, so he replaced the regular coffee grounds with decaf. One evening, I saw a decaf bag of coffee in the cereal cabinet, and I thought to myself, okay, decaf, whatever, and I went to make a pot because, you know, I'm an adult who recognizes her biology and doesn't drink caffeine after a certain time. I mean, it's as if I'm a fully grown adult and I've been on the earth for almost 30 years at this point. Well, as you can probably guess, my dad stopped me and started to laugh and told me that I couldn't have it. He just kept saying that it was special and wouldn't fess up as to why. My mom told me what he had done after he started getting agitated that I wouldn't drop it. And when I acted horrified at his actual entitlement to try and monitor my coffee consumption, he threw his hands in in the air and told me that I've got to take better care of myself, all while walking out of the room and basically ending any kind of discussion before it started. But that brings me back to my main point. I have no idea why my dad cut down my hibiscus. I mean, I didn't even know he was in the garden while he was here. He's so sneaky for literally zero reason. It wasn't in their car when they left. I mean, did he give it to somebody? Truly, I can't think of who would even want that. I mean, did he plant it somewhere else? If he wanted a couple of flowers, I would have without any hesitation given him some. But apparently, it's beneath him to ask for anything. I'm honestly not sure how or when I want to inquire about what happened to it. I could go on the offensive. I could finally disengage once and for all, no warning and no discussion, but I think that I'm just too cut down for that though. It's like he knows who I am, and at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. Honestly, I'm surprised you still let them near your property. If I was in your shoes, the first thing I would do is call them up and say, hey, what happened to my hibiscus tree? And I would call the dad directly. I would say to him, listen, I need to know if you did something to my back garden, because if it wasn't you, I need to call the police and make a report. I mean, come on, that is practically destruction of property, or at least some kind of vandalism against your back garden. And then hopefully he can fess up to something that he might have done. And I'm willing to bet that he's the one that messed with your hibiscus tree. He probably went in there and did something to it, chopped it down because he didn't like it, or just straight up stole it. And with your dad's track record, I honestly would not be surprised if he did that. But here's the thing, if I was in your shoes and he really did do this, I would no longer allow him back on my property. I would say this is the final straw. I'm not allowing you near my family or my property ever again. And honestly, it really sounds like you need to start standing up for yourself. Your dad's been trying to exert his control over you your entire life. He's been messing with your dog, your car. He's been trying to monitor how much coffee you drink. He will just throw away things and replace it with what he likes. It's all incredibly intrusive and so unfair. Like for reference, the original poster is 34 years old. I think it's about time to stand up for yourself and not allow anybody to push you or your family around anymore. Honestly, the next thing I would do, since he clearly can't be trusted at your house, is to set up cameras all over your property. Maybe even change your locks if he has a key to your house. Like, this guy sounds incredibly intrusive, and obviously we can't put it beyond him that he might try to break into your house or into your back garden again. So hopefully you can learn how to stand up for yourself and try and defend your property and your house, because your dad sounds like an awful piece of work, and I honestly think if you let this slide again, he will just keep coming back to mess with you more. My entitled brother ruins my birthday by showing up to my Airbnb and getting absolutely plastered, causing a massive scene in front of me and my friends, as well as spoiling the entire night. And I'm honestly so blown away by his entitlement, as well as his lack of control over his addictions. Here's what happened. So I'm a 24-year-old female, and I celebrated my birthday earlier this year. From my 18th birthday until now, something has always happened on my birthday that ends up ruining the day for me. I made it a point this year to plan and do things I enjoyed on my day. I ended up renting an Airbnb by the lake about an hour away from where I was living. I invited about 8 people to come spend the weekend there with me, and my birthday was on a Sunday, so I had the Airbnb from Friday night to Monday morning. My friends and I had made plans for Friday and Saturday, but what I was most excited for was Sunday, my actual birthday. I decided I wanted to have a cookout. I wanted to get completely smashed. I wanted to smoke and just have a good time. My friends and I made a menu, we planned who was cooking what, and I even invited a few other people to come drop by for the day. I was excited, and everything was going good. Well, earlier on Sunday, my brother, who's 37 years old, called me to wish me a happy birthday. Now, me and my brother don't have the best relationship. I have 2 brothers, but I'm only on speaking terms with one. Both of my brothers are addicts with mental health issues that are fueled by their addiction. The brother that called me has been in and out of jails, rehabs, psych wards, and much more ever since I was 10 years old. And this has taken a huge toll on me and my family. And as a result, me and my brother have had periods where we do not speak. And this has gone on for years at some point. However, when he called me on my birthday, we were kind of in an okay place. He asked me what I had planned, and I told him I rented an Airbnb, and my friends and I were cooking out. Instantly, I realized that was a bad idea, because he took that as an opportunity to invite himself. He kept asking for the address, and I first let him know that all my friends were under the age of 26, so he would be very much out of place. But even still, he still insisted on coming along. Then I was brutally honest and told my brother I didn't want him to come here and ruin my birthday. My brother's current biggest temptation was alcohol. He was doing other things, but he was also mixing that with getting drunk every day. And when my brother drinks and does his substances, he he ruins things, but he promised me that he wouldn't say anything to upset me and that he wouldn't drink too much. I tried for about 30 minutes to get him to not come, but he continued to insist, and at that point I just wanted to start enjoying my day. So I sent him the address and I told him to let me know when he was on his way, and this proved to be a massive mistake. I start cooking by the time my brother calls to let me know that he's coming. He says that his friend is bringing him there and also coming along for the party, and this was strike one. My brother only has friends who are addicts just like him, who are also his age, so I just knew this was going to be an issue. While we were cooking, I noticed that we didn't purchase enough hamburger buns and we had cheese for the burgers, so I asked my brother if he could stop on the way over here and pick some up from the store. He then tells me to send him $20 for groceries, and that honestly was strike number 2. When he arrives, he immediately gets out of the car and I can already tell he's been drinking. He is slurring his words, but he's in decent spirits, so I just let it go. I meet his friend, who is exactly what I described above, and I take them inside to meet my friends. My brother asks where the drinks are, and I show him the bottles in the fridge and asked him if he needed me to pour him a drink, and so I went ahead and did just that. Now keep in mind, we had maybe 4 bottles left at the time, 2 communal bottles, 1 bottle that was one of my friends, and 1 bottle that was actually mine. I had one that was specifically mine because I knew nobody else drank this particular brand, but also it was my birthday, so I got what I wanted and I poured my brother a drink out of this bottle. This was also the first drink from that bottle that I poured that day. I had been cooking after all, so I didn't even have an opportunity to start drinking yet. Everyone eventually goes out back to smoke, and I hear my brother walk out back. He then proceeds to tell my friends, "I don't smoke, but my friend does. Make sure y'all pass him the J while it's in motion." So my brother was expecting my friends to smoke his friend out for free, especially when they didn't bring anything for themselves, and that was strike 3. My brother then starts making little comments about my outfit, making that strike 4. He starts telling me that I need to go change because my outfit is too revealing and he simply won't drop it. I keep letting him know that this is my birthday and it's my Airbnb, while also saying that he did not have to be here if he didn't want to. I also explained that his comments were unnecessary and they were killing the vibe, but he still continued. He then started making comments about my boyfriend, who had run out to grab something for me. My brother isn't a fan of my boyfriend, but I don't really care. My brother has no authoritative power over me to tell me anything about anyone. I then reminded him before he came along that he promised he wouldn't be any trouble, and he then said as my big brother, he's allowed to say whatever he wants. This eventually turned into a big argument where I let him know that he had one more time to upset me on my birthday and then he would have to leave, but he said that I couldn't kick him out. He continued arguing until some of my friends calmed me down and I went outside with them to have a smoke. I eventually came back inside to have a drink because, you know, I kinda need it right now, and my entire personal bottle was empty. I mean, it went from a full bottle to not even a sip left in less than 1 hour. I immediately started flipping out, and I find my brother and I start going in on him. I start screaming about how he's been nothing but a nuisance since he called this morning, how this is why I hate hanging out with him and inviting him to places, and on top of that, all I wanted for my birthday was my bottle, and he decided to finish off the entire thing. His only defense was that there were 3 other bottles in the fridge, and he didn't think that it was that big of a deal. How I know how high his alcohol tolerance is, and how that tiny drink I poured didn't do anything, and he was just trying to calm down after our previous argument. Then he said to me, and I quote, "Can't your friends just buy you another one?" But guess what? It's Sunday. I live in a state that doesn't serve alcohol on Sundays, and on top of that, the Airbnb was in the middle of nowhere. At that point, I absolutely lost it. I told him he had to leave, and if he didn't leave, my friends were putting him out. I called his girlfriend and told her that she needed to tell my brother to get out before things got really ugly. His friend tried to plead his case, while my brother sat in the car saying nothing to me, but I wasn't hearing it. I literally would not stop yelling until they were off the property. Once they finally left, I just started crying so hard. It was the only thing I could do at the time. I cried, I let it all out, and then I had a great rest of my birthday. When my boyfriend got back, he heard about the bottle, and I don't know how, but he left for an hour and a half and came back with an entire crate of alcohol. It wasn't the specific brand that I had previously, but I still really appreciated the effort. The food was great, and my friend showed me so much love. And after it was all said and done, I didn't speak to my brother for several months. He refused to apologize because he didn't think he did anything wrong. He thought I was unfairly picking on him because of our history. But overall, this is a lesson learned, and I certainly won't let this happen to me ever again. Wow, your brother sounds awful. awful. He literally swooped in and ruined your birthday. He chugged all your drinks, he made a massive scene, and he did everything that he promised that he wouldn't do. And that really is a shame. Here you are going out on a limb and thinking, well, maybe your brother won't be an idiot this time. But boy, did he prove you wrong. He came in and he practically spoiled the evening. And that's not fair for you. You really did not deserve that. But also, with that in mind, I really hope you don't cave in to your brother's demands ever again. Like, you knew in your gut he was gonna act like this. When he called up asking for the address, you knew exactly how he was gonna act. You knew he was gonna try and ruin your night, and you knew that this was not gonna end well, but you did it anyways. And that is seriously unfortunate. So please, for the sake of your own sanity, don't let your brother get involved in anything like this ever again. Don't be a doormat for his own guilt tripping, and don't allow him to steal any more special moments in your life, because the way he acted was so unfair, and you absolutely did not deserve to be treated the way that you did. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist at the top of the description. And if you want some vibey music to put on in the background, check out easymode. If you like Am I the Jerk, check out Am I the Genius. Everything will be linked in the description.